Hello everybody, I'm here in Woodland Hills on February the 4th, 2023, and I'm right now at Louisville High School, which is behind me. And I've lived in this area for over 30 years, but I never really knew what was on this property. There's a large property, I don't know how many acres it is or who owns it, but there's this old abandoned house on the property here. I've never seen this in driving by this area. We're right at the intersection of Mulholland Highway and Mulholland Drive. And I guess at one time somebody lived on this piece of property. And there was another house down this way, or a structure of some kind. I'm going to go over here and check it out. There it is right there through the trees. If I had to guess, I would say that the Department of Water and Power owns this property. And it looks like we might be able to gain entry right here. There's a kind of a break in the fence, and it looks like you can go around it. This is interesting. Let's see here. I may be wrong, but I think a few years ago they were talking about building this into condominiums, but they never did. Here's that structure we were looking at a moment ago. This thing is really dilapidated. I'll try to find out more about this piece of real estate. This house is literally falling apart. The roof is caved in. Take a peek inside and see if there's anything that we can see that's interesting. Well, there's nothing to be seen there. And you can see that this property is quite large. We'll go over here and take a look at this other structure. I'm sure some of the neighbors around here know what this property's all about, but I've never ever been on it. I've known it's been here, but it's always been fenced off. And I don't think that this house that I just showed you a moment ago was visible from the street. So they might have done a lot of brush clearing back. This house is definitely falling apart as well. If I'm able to get an address on the house, I can research this through title insurance and see who owned it and when. So this is the second abandoned residence. On this property. And that sign that I just took a video of said that there was a public hearing in September of last year to put 19 single family residences on this 6-acre parcel. I don't know whatever became of that, whether that was approved or not. but this is the second house, and this might have been the person that owned this property at one time. The house is really falling apart, but it looks like it's got hardwood floors. Well, some kind of a wood planking floor. And then the bathroom looks like late 40s, early 50s to me. And this toilet has a date inside that I noticed saying 1995. So apparently 25 years ago, or 27 years ago, this was a house that was occupied by somebody. It's now, of course, very dilapidated. There's a bed in here. Looks like somebody might have been using this as a, like a little homeless shelter kind of a thing. This is the kitchen. A refrigerator here and a pantry. But I found out in speaking to somebody on the north end of this property that part of this land, and a lot of this land here, is owned by the Department of Water and Power, because there's a water pumping station about 1,000 feet from here, off toward the north. And this land, at one point, reservoir was located. This is many years ago, of course, and Girard is the name that Woodland Hills was before it was Woodland Hills. I did a video some months ago where I showed a house that Girard lived in, after which they named Woodland Hills. Well, before they named it Woodland Hills, it was named Girard. And so they had the Girard Reservoir down here. And this parcel of land, I looked into it, this whole several acres here was part of the, I believe it was called the Jack Ingram Movie Ranch. And so this structure here and this other structure, well, this might be the house that Jack Ingram lived in, but there was apparently a movie set here. You can read about it online. And that's kind of an interesting story. I was looking at that. But that was before there were any homes out here at all. This is back in the 1940s, because the home tracks out here weren't built until, I believe, 1948. And that's when the building of homes started out here. And there's some photographs online of the Jack Ingram Ranch, and there was nothing surrounding this property. This was out in the boondocks. So here's the entrance to the Department of Water and Power pumping station right there. And there's some of the equipment and some of the installation that is up here. So I was just talking to an employee who came in that truck, and this apparently is a Department of Water and Power pumping station. And apparently there used to be a reservoir up in this area many years ago. And yes, this is the area where they were trying to put in some kind of condominiums, I don't know, 7 years ago. And there was a big fight in the neighborhood because people didn't want it.